Here he is. Let's bring him in. It's Chris Dodgson. How are you, Chris?
Hello, hello. How are you?
Hello, hello. I'm very well, thank you.
All right today. Can you hear
Uh,
me?
I can hear you. Are you on your computer?
No, no, I'm on the phone.
You're on your phone. Fine, absolutely fine. No, it just went in, it went out just for a split second, but I'm sure it's absolutely fine. Let me just check we've got everything. Yep, we've got you.
Okay.
Lovely to have you with us. And thank
Nice to
you.
see
See,
you.
I've heard about Smedley Butler, but I didn't know about Smedley Butler. But thanks to you, I now know about Smedley Butler and what an interesting character. Chris, you are part of Documentalists. You made a report about Smedley Butler, and it's about the legacy of Major General Smedley Butler, who was responsible for the book War Is a Racket. And it's such an interesting story, Chris. What
That's
attracted
what I
you?
do.
So it's a fascinating story, and it's what's so interesting about it, of course, is that we can learn so many lessons about what is happening today if we look at Smedley's story. So first of all, tell me, what attracted you to covering Smedley Butler?
It was completely random, to be honest with you. I was, as you do, scrolling around Facebook, and somebody had posted a meme about him. I'd never heard of him before, so I decided to have a look into it. And I thought, well, I looked at his story and thought that it related to a lot of what's going on today. To be honest, it hasn't changed in nearly 100 years.
In
So
what
basically,
respect?
well, basically, he fighting for the corporations. He was a muscle man for the corporations. So he joined the military at an early age, at the age of 16, um, against his parents' wishes and that. And he was going around like Latin America, China, um, basically taking over for the corporations and taking all their natural resources and things like that. And it was around the same time that the Venezuela thing just happened, and I thought, well, it's a bit of a coincidence that I'd seen that as well. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Um,
it's really interesting stuff. I think his transformation is so interesting. Before we get to his transformation, oop, you're a bit high up there. Let me just move that down a little bit. There we go. We've got you. We've got you. No worries. The transformation, I think, is fascinating because this was a tool of war. He was essentially a tool of war, wasn't he? Talk to us a little bit about that because he was highly decorated. He was a leader, wasn't he? He was considered like ahead of it all.
Well, he spent 33 years in the military, and by the end of it, decided that well, basically, it was corrupt. He decided that that war should only be for defence, which it should be really, because I mean they're always talking about they always make excuses up to invade countries, don't they? At the end of the day, they go over there to steal things. The corporations always end up making silly amounts of money. If you look at the documentary, I've got some of the figures in there as well, and yeah, silly. Some companies making like 950% on
No.
their profits and things like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. But he came out after 33 years and decided to basically campaign against the military industrial complex.
We both
And
commented yesterday how the 33 years in itself was a really interesting period of time, wasn't
that
it?
number,
Yes, exactly. Very interesting. But what was so interesting was you talk about how he was so busy following orders that it took him time to be able to see things from the outside, which is really interesting because our first guest has literally written a song called Following Orders, right? About people being busy, the cops and everything around the C-19 period. And it's a similar thing, is that I think it's really difficult if you're not involved in that, if you're not a soldier, if you're not a Marine, it's really difficult to understand how it just you become so focused, right? So it's so narrow, isn't it? They
also the
don't.
way that the military work as well. They batter your head
Yes.
basically, so you don't have time to think.
And the idea that he never had an original thought until he left the service as well, I find that interesting. So he'd criticized Mussolini, right? No, let me just go back a bit to the war because I really want to stress how deeply involved he was in the war machine. So he was also, I mean, he was involved in, he was almost an army unto himself, wasn't he? And
That's the
then
one.
Right. So it was very much part of the military complex and the banana wars and all this kind of stuff. Just give us a little bit of background about how deep he was, though, in it before we get to the point where he transformed.
So basically, when he was about 16, he shipped out to Guantanamo Bay, which I'm sure everyone's heard of before. Um, and He was also in the Philippine American War as well, Nicaragua, all around Latin America, basically. And yeah, yeah. Well, basically, he had a no nonsense style. He was known by the name of Old Gimlet Eye,
Right.
which I found was quite a funny nickname as well. But and then yeah, after doing all that around Latin America, he basically he went over to Philadelphia and he set up the police in Philadelphia, and he was involved in the shutting down the speakeasies and things like that as well. And it was around that time that he started thinking more about how against the military he was as well. That's around the time when he started campaigning against it.
That tells you, though, how deeply manipulated his mind has been that it's taken him that period of time to see it for what it was. And so, what happened was he criticized Mussolini and he got some real backlash for that, didn't he?
He did indeed. Yeah, it was for Mussolini had run over a child,
That's right.
and he said something like, "It's only one life." That was what he said after running over this child, and that obviously upset Smedley Butler a little bit as well.
So this Smedley Butler, while you've been looking at him, because I'm not a great fan of war in any shape or form, because as you talk about, it's
I
really
got
about
probably
yeah, well, it's about a small group of people, isn't it, profiting while the masses suffer. And that is the reality, and that's what he
you saw that
realized.
man Davos is happening at the minute as well.
The what?
They're over in Davos at the minute talking about war and
Well,
things like that as well,
they're
aren't
out of there now, but yeah, last week they were all there. Absolutely, they never stop. It is the military
they?
industrial complex, so they move from one country, one nation to another. So let's talk about when he started to wake up and when he realized that this is a war machine. This is about profit. This is about propaganda. Talk about the beginning points when he started to realize there was something really wrong.
The beginning point. So, well, basically, it was when he came out. He said one of his famous quotes that's in his book as well. Said he spent 33 years as a high class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street, the bankers. In short, he was a racketeer and a gangster for capitalism, and he compared himself to Al Capone as well. Although he was on three continents rather than in three states.
Right. And he realized then that war was about essentially three things, right? Oftentimes oil, money, and control. And that
Exactly.
absolute draw the parallel with what's going on today as well. What did he do when he realized those things?
It was that well, that was around the time he started going around the United States, campaigning for the veterans. The government weren't paying them. It was around the time of the Depression, the Great Depression, and they basically he was campaigning to get them paid early. It's the same story today. They don't look after their soldiers. They use them. They use
Exactly.
them, they get injured and killed and whatever else, and they don't look after them at all. You look at what do we call them? The boat people that are getting put in all these hotels at the minute.
Oh,
But we've
migrants.
got
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we've got soldiers on the street. Um, my other half, Jen, she used to work for the Royal British Legion at one point, and she used to speak to a lot of these military guys. They don't get looked after at all.
No, no, they don't. We use them and then we dump them. And I think one of the interesting things, he was a straight talker. And when he was going around trying to educate these soldiers, he said, I'm trying to educate the soldiers out of the sucker class. And he could see quite clearly that these people they were just kind of flotsam and jetsam to be disposed of by the kind of parasitical class, couldn't he? He could see that. That now, him speaking like that after he's had such a highly decorated marine military career, that surely put his life in jeopardy.
He must have done, yeah. I mean, well, even when he was in Philadelphia, he upset the government there. They weren't happy with some of the things he was saying. It was around when he was talking about Mussolini and just the state of things. He basically upset a few of the higher up people, and that was another thing that gave him a kick up the backside to go start campaigning as well.
Right. Because he was waking up to who they were and what they were about. And I think it's really for anybody who's never been in that. I've never been in the military. I've never been in that kind of situation where my mind has been so kind of coerced and manipulated. But when you are, when you have to get up at a certain time and orders are kind of barked at you, you become like that. And he realized that as well. Tell me what happened about a political conspiracy to overthrow the US president, Franklin Roosevelt.
It was basically it was called the business plot between 1933 and 1934. He testified before Congress that there were wealthy businessmen. Allegedly, they were connected to J.P. Morgan Associates, and they were backed by about $3 million. He said that they approached him to lead a fascist coup against, like you said, President Franklin D. Roosevelt. And the plan was to rally 500,000 veterans to seize power and install like a dictator like figure, such as I think his name was Hugh S. Johnson. And well, basically, the congressional committee they verified some details, but they basically didn't believe him, or they tried to dismiss it, like they do anyway. It's like the propaganda in the mainstream media today.
Exactly that, exactly that. Chris, what do you consider his legacy? I mean, it takes what you've done, putting it together. It's almost like you have to get into that person's mind. I know because I make documentaries myself. So it's almost like you're almost kind of wearing his skin for a period of time to try and understand where he's coming from. What do you consider his legacy?
His legacy. I mean, one thing I just keep thinking like people should have been listening to him 100 years ago, and I'm sure some people were as well. But as we know, they try and shut all these sort of things down. And as Trevor said um, before me as well, like people need to come together. Basically, we don't need all these wars. Um, Divide and conquer is the oldest trick in the book as well.
We
Um,
we are so divided, aren't we, Chris? I mean, the thing is, all you have to do now is you see out on the streets people who are fighting for the political classes. That's what they're doing. They're divided. And so you have like the reform side and you have the Labour
yeah,
side, the right, the left.
the voting system, I've never believed in that. That's just another way of dividing everyone. It's two sides of the same coin, basically.
Right. You don't vote at all?
No, I've never believed in it, to be honest.
Really? Not
Even when I was younger, I used to question all that. I've never believed it. But I don't know if it changed anything, they wouldn't allow it, would they?
well, exactly. I mean, I'm not a voting fan, and some people they say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to have a say. Well, actually, I think it's the reverse. I think if
Yeah,
you do
exactly.
vote, you don't have a right to have a say because you've already voted us into this system. Whereas if you don't vote, you have every right because you're actually making a stand against it. And it's still very much people don't like it, do they? They say that we're part of the problem. I don't think I'm part of the problem.
Oh, I've had so many arguments with people about this. I say arguments, discussions.
I just wonder whether anything's going to change because we're so easy to manipulate. You only had to look at the C-19 period and then everything that's come after that, right? Look what happened last week. You talked about Venezuela. Well, there's people online who call themselves freedom fighters. They're like, woo, woo, yeah, yeah, they captured Maduro. And it's quite extraordinary, but it's extraordinary, isn't it, that people who are supposedly on the same side actually are cheering on these elite parasites, and
Well,
they want Trump. They want Trump to come to our nation, take over our nation. I find it extraordinary. You know,
see,
I
I don't believe in any of them. This, yeah, they're all part of the same system, basically. And one
yes,
thing I've never understood, I've lost friends over the past couple of years because they don't understand. They want you to pick a side, and well, I don't have a side. I'm in the middle. I don't want any of it.
Right, right. And it's for me, I don't know what your position is, but I kind of see it similar to the whole issue of the royal family. I'd get rid of the royal family in a heartbeat, right? But
Oh,
people
no,
are
I'm
like,
with
right, and people are like, "Oh, no, because 'cause we'll end up with a president." But why do we have to stick with such rigid thinking? We're
Why does
intelligent people.
anybody have to rule over us? That's the thing.
I
Why can't we
completely
just get on
agree.
with our life?
I completely agree, Chris. I completely agree. But you see, the problem is that the mainstream school system has taught people, to be very rigid, to be very compliant. Compliance was, I think, one of the biggest problems about the C-19 period. If we had more rebels, true rebels, I think it would have made a big difference. So
I
I
couldn't
think.
believe it. Banging pots and pans outside. I didn't believe that at all.
I know, absolute mad
But
stuff. Let's read some comments here. Let's read some comments. If voting made a difference, they wouldn't let you do it, said DJ Markuson, to echo what you've just said. Peters says Smedley Butler's legacy is a person's story to keep us going. And it is in many respects. Did you take heart from him, Chris?
yeah, yeah, he's an inspiration, basically. It's a shame that more people in the military don't have his way of thinking. I have spoken to people who've come out of the military and have second thoughts, but like we said previously, their heads get so battered while they're in the military. They keep them so busy that they don't have time to think about it. It's not till after when they're not getting looked after.
I think that there's obviously a lot of problems with military. We know that, definitely. And I think that it takes a huge amount to have been so much a part of the system to then go, there's something really wrong with it. And he did acknowledge his own role, didn't he? He acknowledged his own role in the problems.
He did indeed, yeah.
What do you want people to know about him?
I want people to know, well, basically, watch my documentary for a start. It'll tell
Yeah.
you everything about him. But it's people don't seem to believe how corrupt a world we live in, and I want more people to realise this. I mean, even I've had family stop talking to me as well. They don't. Whenever I've tried to talk about these things, they don't want to hear it, and I don't think we can't be quiet about these things. We have to keep shouting about these things and waking people up to it. And the more people that come together and work together, just bloody ignore the system. What's the point in it?
Yeah. We live in a world where the people raising awareness about the problem are treated worse than the people creating the problem. That's the world
Tell
we
me,
live in, right? And let's see what Skelovade says. We want all the military to fight back the government and defend the people, have them wake up from their heinous job. Well, and that is the problem, isn't it? Of course, is that our money is used against us. It's used for the police, it's used for the military, all things that can be turned on us at the drop of a hat, and I just wonder whether there's going to be enough waking up in my lifetime. But all we can do, Chris, is our own little bit. That's all we can
exactly.
do, whatever it
We're
is. And
getting there slowly.
mm,
We're getting there slowly but surely.
I like the sound of that. You are, of course, from Funked in the Head Media. I think I've already put a link in the description to all of your platforms, including to the documentary on Smedley Butler. Chris, thank you for being
Thank
with
you.
us today. Very much appreciate having you with us. Everybody, this is Chris Dodgson, and he is responsible for reinvigorating, revitalizing Smedley Butler for a whole new audience. Take good care of
Thanks
yourself,
for
Chris.
having me on as well.
Lovely to have you with us. Take good care of yourself.
You as well.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. I love it when people rediscover these characters from the past and realize they have something to offer us today.